walk by. I think a fall angel just walked by. I think a fall angel just walked by. I think a fall angel just walked by. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight for my soul.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Spinner Act. I'm here with Thalia. She was here at the con with us. Of course, I'm here with my usual partner in crime, Petey himself.
Hey, what's going on?
And so today we're going to be discussing, just talking to Thalia about everything, what she's up to. Petey, can you tell us where you first met her?
Well, I was in the con, and I can't remember exactly. I think it was Saturday. It was definitely Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend brought us over to the table, and we met Thalia. She was in her outfit as a tap dance killer, and it was like seeing Harley Quinn, but the original one. And since we kind of lost that, I was like, this is like a character that actually should be in animation. This is like getting back to where she was. So it was like, and then we got to talk for a little while. We got to see the comic book. I picked out the trade for that, and she graciously said she would, let us interview her.
Thank you, Thalia.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. I will definitely love to tell you more about that day that we met. It was also a really great pleasure to meet you that day. I think we're at the booth 2049. Okay. That's going to be Ted's booth at Hero Tomorrow, the Hero Tomorrow booth. So, yes, I was there cosplaying as the Tap Dance Killer, one of his star proteges of one of the best comics I've read so far from Ted that I really, really love. I'm totally into this story. Just a little bit about that role that I was playing that day, since I was all dressed up. You see me in like the half white face. I see where you get the like Harley Quinn reference. Yeah. It kind of does give you that. But obviously, our girl Tap Dance Killer is a soulful chick. So a little bit about this character. I'm glad you have this book right here. The Tap Dance Killer. The main character name is Nikki Sinclair. She is based out of Cleveland, Ohio. So Nikki Sinclair is this actress, right? She's this actress. She gets casted in a Broadway horror musical as the Tap Dance Killer. And something happens supernatural on the set of this musical that makes her turn in a way where, like, she just can't shake her role. She gets stuck as a Tap Dance Killer. And in her role on the musical, she's usually, like, doing off with the mafia. She actually, like, gets it into her mind that she's really going to do off with the actual mafia. So the story is just so good, so crazy how it unravels. And it's probably one of the most interesting stories I've read so far in comics recently, with a main female character as Tap Dance Killer. It's really, really a fun read. And I think it's kind of funny how much I related to this character. Listen, it behooves me how I like how this is so possible. It's actually a bit of a funny story, though, how I even got into this. But, like, y'all.
Tell us.
Oh, man. So crazy. So I met Ted Sakura. I met him 5 years ago. Wow. 5 years ago, Dragon Con. This is nuts. Dragon Con is usually in Atlanta. So there I was, minding my business, on the street with my friends. I was dressed as Harley Quinn.
There we go. All right.
That day I was walking around outside, and he found me outside with a friend of mine, and he said, you, oh my God, you look just like my main character, Tap Dance Killer. Listen, I was like, this man, what is he talking about? Like, he's like, I have a booth here. And I was like, yeah. And then he was just like, no, I have a booth here, and you should come by the next day, because that was a day, like a Friday, that he saw me. He was like, you should come by on, like Saturday, and you should check out my booth, you and your friend. I had a friend with me. He said the friend of mine looked like another character of his, which is in the book, called Punchline. I'm not sure if you got that chance to, like, go through the book and actually see Punchline, the character. He's like this big retired boxer,
Boxer, yeah.
turned clown face killer.
Right.
Like that's Punchline. So I had a friend with me who he felt resembled Punchline because he was just so big and brawly, you know, at the time. And he was like, you two would be perfect for my comic. And he was like, to cosplay it would be amazing. And I was just like, wow, that's a huge compliment. So I later then went to his booth. We caught up. He gave us some interesting issues that we should check out. So we got some issues from him. And, you know, from there on, we kind of like stay connected over the years. And then finally, this year here, he was like, I just have to have you as Tap Dance Killer. I know we've been speaking about this for years. Like, are you free? Are you able? And there was a moment I was just like, you know, because I had been focused with everything else around me, like the whole like modeling stuff and other, you know, I just said, you know, this is a perfect opportunity for me to jump back into doing more cosplay and stuff that I love doing. And like, I've been wanting to work with him. I just didn't know when he was also ready. Because of course he's been busy with doing this at every convention, at his booths. So I was just like, you know what, this is a great opportunity. I'm free. I will make myself free, which I did. And I'm actually glad I did it. The fact that he could just, that's kind of crazy, right?
It is.
I was just like, I feel lucky for that moment because this has been a character that I could really resonate with naturally without even trying. Like, I remember when he was like, oh, I'm not sure if you read up on the comics. And I was like, yeah. But then when I got into playing the role of this actress, Nikki Sinclair, he was just like, you act just like her. And it's so funny. I think I told him, I said, are you sure? Because I'm kind of just being my personality. I'm not even like role playing as the character right now. And he was like, well, your personality is Nikki Sinclair. And I'm just like, well, I guess it's a perfect fit. Wow. Because she speaks in a way kind of like almost like a 50s type of like circa 50s type of timeline. Yeah. So, like, for example, we're at the booth and, you know, people are passing by. And I have this thing that I do, like how I deal with rejection. Okay. Just even like in New York City and in normal life, like when I'm on the train and somebody bumps into me or something, I'm just like... move it or lose it, pal. Like, that's my favorite thing to say. And I know it sounds comical to y'all, but I am so serious when I'm saying it. So I'm like, move it or lose it, buddy. And people are just like, what the fuck is going on? Excuse me. But like, usually they're just like, what's going on? Like, this girl's crazy. So I was telling people at Comic-Con who weren't trying to come by our booth, I was telling them like, move it or lose it, toots. Or like, beat it, bucko. Like, if they were like, oh, I'm not interested, I'm like, oh, beat it. And like, they're like, what is going on?
So I missed out. I should have actually tried to, I'm not. No.
Some people were giggling and other people were like, like, oh my God, what did I do to you?
So the makeup, you did that also yourself?
I did do the makeup myself.
Okay.
So I've been doing my own makeup since I was like 13 years old. So it was a challenge. I will say that. It wasn't like super hard, but it was a bit frustrating because there's a lot of patience that comes with doing this type of makeup, like clown makeup, like half white face, like. But it still roughly came out pretty. I mean, how do you feel about it?
Yeah. It was like seeing the con. Well, that's the thing when you're going around the con, you always want to look for characters you know that look like comic characters. But then this was a character I didn't know. And it looked like a already realized comic character. Wow. So that really says like this. It was what you want to see in cosplay. That sort of thing.
Where did you grow up?
Okay, so I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you like it out there?
There's a certain feeling of home.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a certain feeling of home, and it is my home.
Right.
But I was born here.
Okay.
In New York City, I was born in Harlem. I just wasn't raised here.
You got out of Charleston, or can we say you escaped? And then you came out here.
Yeah. Oh my God, such an escape. Ooh.
Tell us, how did you get out here?
When I realized that in order for me to really like blossom, which ironically my name means to blossom forth. Thalia means to blossom forth. I realized I needed to blossom forth. I needed to create more buds and grow. Right. So I was like, all right, I'm too adventurous to stay here. I have way too much that I'm just holding down here, and I don't want to be a young housewife. Let me, which there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. That's your calling in life. That just wasn't mine. Anyways, so I was like, I'm going to take my butt up out of here. I went to Atlanta first.
Right.
That was a quick
Makes
little pit
sense.
stop. I was going back and forth to New York and South Carolina because of family and different things, but I didn't have any career going on in New York, and I didn't quite start like modeling full time then. So I went to Atlanta, and there I picked up different things such as like acting, and this is like when the acting field and people bringing their studios and like movie work to Atlanta. This is like when it just happened.
Right.
It was fresh, and I was like, ooh, money. Little did I know the market was going to be real cheap. Anyway, it was cheap for people to film over there, and they were being cheap with people.
Wow.
So
That
I was
makes
getting on sets, I was doing fittings, I was doing all that stuff, and I was getting paid very little, but it was the experience for me that made a difference. So I went out there, I was doing that, I made some great connections, and I decided to, because of a friend, I decided to go ahead, push further, and take my whole modeling career seriously. She was like, get into it. And I was like, all right, I think I can make up some connections, with some people here who know people in New York City. So I started to model here part-time. Whenever I wasn't filming in Atlanta, I was modeling here. And that was a lot because at that time frame, here I am, just like brokey jokey, Chinese bussing it, with the crying baby on the back, the guy with a whole kennel of 5 dogs, and somebody had nerve to bring what's it called, fish on board, like not the dried fish, like.
Give me nightmares.
Eventually, I aced my first Vogue published photo.
Congratulations.
But not in Vogue, but in Vogue, but Italian Vogue.
Right. Hey.
Italian Vogue. It's Vogue.
That's Vogue. Hey,
So-
let's give it a clap.
Yes.
How
And
many people have
I
done
was
that, right?
like, there's something taken off here, and I'm doing too little at home with little pay, and I'm actually building clients. And when I started realizing I was building clients here, I was like, what left is there for me in Atlanta? Because now I'm flying all over the place, and at this point, because now I have a little bit of money now to fly and not take the Chinese bus. So I was flying to LA for opportunities as well. So I was modeling in LA, and I was just like, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to like stay here in Atlanta and waste my days away just getting these little bitty jobs, or am I going to go full throttle and just take my butt to New York City? And I have some support out there, so that's what I did. I mean, it was the most hardest thing I could ever do at the time frame. I think I was just getting out of a relationship as well, and that was coming like to an end. Oh my God, that was dramatic. So it was kind of like, okay, this is a push. This is even more a push to get out,
Right.
and go into what I need to go into to pursue my career and like forward myself. So I came to New York City with all these big bags, here off the Chinese bus, fresh off the Chinese bus, with like 6 big duffel bags. When I finally sat down in my place of where I called home here in New York City, it was a moment where I finally like took that deep breath, and I was like, I made it. And I was like, is this a good time to cry now? Or and I didn't cry because I was like, nope, I can cry after I get a job. Anyway.
Well, that was good. I mean, hey.
I booked my first job, and then I cried.
Wow. That was a lot.
It was a lot.
I can imagine.
It was a lot, but it was so worth it. I would not trade it for anything. I'm so thankful to be here.
What's the most memorable story about modeling?
My most memorable stories. Wow. Okay, I have one. Wow, this one's a good one for me. I'll never forget this. It was before I moved from Atlanta. It was actually a gig I had done 3 months prior to my move to New York. It was in San Fran. It was with a studio, a clothing studio that I had admired since I was like a teenager, turning into like my my older teens. So like I was like 19 years old, enamored with becoming a model for this clothing line. And I was just like, I want to be that doll that they're looking for. Like, I want to do this. And it was a huge dream for me. It was huger than anything. I didn't care about, all those other like, labels out there and anything like that. I was like modeling for them. Like, if I could get in this clothing line, and this is the clothing line like that was like just starting to get a big jump on the scene. Like, they were just starting to get everybody's attention. And, they, at the time frame when I was like 19, and I was trying to spread the word about their clothing because it was just so exceptionally different from anything that anybody else was wearing in my hometown at the time, like in Charleston. So I was just like, okay, 19 years old, this is what I want to do. I want to model for this clothing brand, whatever. I had reached out to them when I was 19. I said, this is what I wanted to do, blah, blah, blah. Well, years later, going to San Fran, now at their studio where they've built so much stuff and they've opened their first shop, like their first like in-store shop, not a pop-up shop, like an actual shop in San Fran of their home, like where the base of their clothing line comes from. I was just like, I can't believe I'm here right now. And they had an open casting for models, and I was there amongst over like 600 girls.
Wow.
And out of, I think the woman said that she counted over 200 and some odd girls so far, and out of those 200 some odd girls within that line of 600, I was picked to go to the studio. I lost my ish. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I had never been so happy before in my life. I was just so ecstatic. I remember just like I had so much joy build up and so much emotion. Like, I didn't know what to do with it. I was literally like, ooh, what do I do? Like, what do I do? In moments like that, now that I look back, I kind of do wish I had guidance at that time frame. But at the same time, I kind of like, it's almost like a 50-50. If I wish I had guidance or some kind of manager. And at the same time, I wish like, nah, not really. I think I did great. It's just enjoying, just being able to enjoy that moment, right, for what it was. Because it was one for the books, definitely. And I feel like that's something I'll forever hold, like, as a fantastic modeling experience. I'm sure there's other opportunities that I've been offered that probably some people may say, oh, because of it's that label, it may top that to them. But nah, I'm sorry. Nothing can top my dream of what I always wanted to do. And they published me on their Instagram, which y'all might say, what? But to me, that was huge because that was my dream. So I'm glad.
Everyone's goals and fulfillments are different from anyone else.
They're super different.
People always say, hey, I want to get all this money. I want to buy this house. But it's always different. It's never the exact same.
Yeah.
So if you're happy, that's the most important thing. That's
what
you want to happen.
I was super excited. I was super happy for that moment. Yeah.
So you were talking about crafts. Can you talk about some of the crafts you've done? I think you were saying in between modeling.
Oh yeah, sure. So I have my cute little side hustles, I would like to call. So one of my hobbies that is also like a cute little side hustle for me is I like to stress. That's usually the art of bedazzling or jeweling an object. For example, say like something like this hoodie right here. What I'll do with it is I will take some Swarovskis and I will like bedazzle, or should I say strass, that's the proper terms for it, like putting a jewel one by one on this and sticking it there, and so it stays, and then this would just be like one whole bedazzled hoodie.
Wow. That's a lot of work.
Strassed hoodie. It's a lot of work. A lot of man hours. Boy, I got to tell ya.
Women hours.
There you go. That's right. But it's a lot of work, a lot of it's so funny. My friend was like, you call it strassing? And she was like, do you call it anything else? And I said, sometimes I tell people I like do precision art. And she's like, what is precision art? And I'm like,
that's a good name, actually.
Precision art is when you are being precise in how you place the things with your art. Like you, like how I place my placements, like the art of it is being precise. Like, so I have to be very precise about how in each jewel I place and the size of each jewel. I was like, it's precision art to me. So, and I actually do it on like more than just like handbags and shoes. I do it on like consoles, video game consoles, and like cases for like Nintendo Switch. I just recently did one on a Nintendo Switch. I did like a Sailor Moon case that looked like bedazzled. It looks really cool. So I went to the Swarovski stand. I didn't even know Swarovski had
I didn't know one either.
a stand, or should I say a booth over at Comic-Con. I was like, why? Like, I can't believe y'all just came here without me. Like, I'm just so I had to go over there, and I mentioned it in my video. I was like, your girl is stressed and bedazzled things. I had to come over and check out Swarovski. When I got over there, they had so many cool DC Marvel pieces that they had went ahead and like bedazzled. And the Dark Knight was one that the brand ambassador was holding, and I was just like, wow, that is an amazing piece. And she said it was over 700 crystals. I'm gonna be real with you, girl, I think that's what you meant to say was 1,700 crystals. 17 because looking at it and seeing that I do that,
call you.
right, see, looking at it, I was like, 700, are you sure? Wow, this is gorgeous how it glimmered in the light, the rainbow reaction to the light. Like, I was just like, wow, so clean. She had to wear these like white gloves, these white cotton gloves that like just to make sure it stays polished and nice and neat. I was like, oh my God. And I work with those gloves, so I was just like, oh yay. Just seeing it glimmer in its glory. And then looking at all the other pieces that they had like this crystal, like all crystal Catwoman piece, the crystal Batman car.
Wow.
Like, I was like, wow, like they had so much cool stuff.
Do you do commissions, or are you doing just?
I do commissions.
Okay.
I do commission based. You can find my precision art at Sassy Stress. That's SASSYSA. STRASSED. Sassy Stressed. That's on Instagram and other platforms too, but mostly Instagram. Yeah, that's just one thing I do. Outside of that, I have a business where I make pasties and clothing, but we starting with just pasties.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Let's tell us about that.
My pasties are like realism faux whipped cream looking, so they kind of look like cupcakes. Or the top of a cupcake. So like, I don't know if you've like seen cupcakes with like the whipped cream swirl and like the cherry on top. That's what my pasties look like. But they just like, they look real, but they're not.
What are pasties?
And they smell a little. Pasties are like the things that people put on their boobs.
Okay.
At like at like raves, parties, festivals.
Okay, you're talking about now.
You know,
that's
the whole.
What they call it. I didn't know that's what they're called. Pasties.
Yeah, pasties. So it's something like a lot of like burlesque usually look for, and I sell it to them. And I made it like I made this thing like a couple of years ago.
Wow.
It's kind of weird.
So what is it? Mold? You mold it into?
So it's like a vegan silicone. So it's biodegradable. Basically, like it's totally recyclable. It's cruelty free. It's not harmful. It's good on sensitive skin. If you have sensitive skin, I have sensitive skin, so I can't just put anything on my skin. And it's reusable, so you can reuse it up to 25 times.
That's cool.
And that's just usually the pasty. It's really crazy how I even thought about that.
Yeah. How did you come up with that?
So
You're at a party.
on my 28th, no, actually, I wish I was at a party. On my 28th birthday, really boring though. On my 28th, it was going to be my 28th birthday, and I was wanting to do a photo shoot with like whipped cream and me in my birthday suit with whipped cream and like sprinkles, some crazy stuff, some crazy idea I had, which ironically wasn't so crazy because JT from City Girls, I love you, JT. She did that for her birthday, and I was like, oh, she stole my idea. like I was like, God damn it. So yeah, 28th birthday was coming up, and I was like, I want to do this, but the anxiety of making a mess on set was killing me. I was like, so I'm gonna take real whipped cream, and then like put sprinkles on that thing, and then take a photo like this, like, hey, like I was like, I don't know about that. So I started doing research on whether if a product like that was available, because I was like, oh, please, everybody invents something, like, like. This has to be something out there like that.
Right.
No, there was nothing out there like that at all. There was like absolutely nowhere in the market. Where's there anything like what I'm talking about? So I became frustrated because I was like, I really want this vision to come to life. And this is something that I battle with a lot. Anytime I have a vision, I have to see it come. I have to see it follow through.
Right.
I have to see it follow through. So I'm looking there. I'm just like, okay, how am I going to do this? So I did all the research I could possibly do, down to like adhesives, like silicone that's not harmful, basically like silicone that you're not using on construction, but like, because obviously we use silicone for multiple purposes,
Right.
and there's different types of silicone out there. We have silicone things that we like, deal with on a daily basis that isn't harmful to us or in the environment. So I did thorough research, and I finally came up on some materials I could use to mold, and products that were safe to put on the body. And then I was able to then create a full product and not a prototype. And when that happened, everything changed. And friends were gathering, and they were like, "You made something." And I was like, "I made something." And they were like, "You made a product." And I was like, "I made a product?" Like, I didn't think it was actually a product. I was like, I just made this thing for a birthday shoot, which never happened, by the way. Because I'm just dramatic. I guess I just was like too focused on that I didn't make the time to do the birthday shoot. So I was kind of just like, meh, I'll figure it out. And I'm glad I made a product that people actually enjoy. I'm definitely planning on hitting harder next year to create more revenue so it can actually be a thing. I've already had 2 stores that are interested in carrying my products, so I thought that was really awesome, and hopefully we can move forward from there, and it can actually be a thing that blows up on the scene.
So how are you selling it right now?
The business and shop is called Roses N, the letter N, Ruins. Roses and Ruins. So the Tasty Pasties, you can find them at Roses, the letter N, Ruins, on Instagram. You can find that on Twitter. You can also find us at the Etsy shop, which is etsy.com/ I think store/Roses and Ruins shop. And or you could just go on our Instagram and then click the bio, like click the link in the bio. But that would probably be like the fastest way to find us. And yeah, Roses and Ruins.
Oh, I am highly impressed. What you've talked to us about, the entrepreneur. That's what you should call you.
Yes.
Cool.
You're an entrepreneur. And we hope that you have greater success. However we can
thank
do
you.
to support you. If you have things that you want to talk to us in the future, come by. We
Yeah,
would be glad
definitely.
to
Yeah.
be a great interviewee.
Oh, thank you
So,
guys for the questions.
the time
Definitely
has gone
fun.
by super fast,
Yeah.
very easy. So it was
Oh,
not a-
word.
I hope we haven't put you on the spot.
You ain't put me on the spot. I talk a lot. I was
So-
good.
Is there anything that you want to say before you go? Or something you want to go over there?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. If you guys want to find me, you can find me at Face of Thalia. I used to do a lot of beauty stuff, and I still do, predominantly on my TikTok page. But you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, even hopefully streaming soon, because I've been looking into streaming as well, because I play Call of Duty a lot on my Twitch. But you can find the link to that because it's all interlinked together from my Instagram. So if you go to Instagram, Face of Thalia, that's FACEOFTHALIA. And that's about it. And I'm really thankful that you guys had me. Thank you so much.
All right.
Well, just thank you very much. Spinnerack.
Out.